And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the closest star yesterday plus today's data from SDO in 3 different wavelengths. We'll be covering it, solar flares, coronal mass ejections. Is there one headed toward Earth? We'll let you know later in the video. There's one headed toward Earth. Here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So that's iron star, 3 different species of ionized iron there. Here is our SDO intensity gram. Sunspots here mostly stable, although some growth in this group back here. Next we'll show the SDO magnetogram. There it is in its full colorized glory. And let's blast through some earthly items here before we get back to space. So, Shivaluch is erupting. This is our volcano rundown. Volcanic ash not identifiable in satellite imagery. Don't assume Shivaluch is not erupting. If you happen to be at the unlikely vacation spot of the Kamchatka Peninsula, Nishinoshima. Significant eruption there as it explodes. 10,000-foot ash plume from Nishinoshima. Sakurajima, 9,000-foot ash plume from Sakurajima, flight level 090. Suwanosejima, flight level 070. And on the Alaskan Peninsula, we've got Pavlov with an effusive explosive eruption. No indication the size of the ash plume there, but there's lava descending the eastern-southeastern slope. Popocatépetl exploding. Flight level 210. It's a 21,000-foot ash plume over central Mexico. Fuego in Guatemala exploding. 15,000-foot ash plume. Nevado del Ruiz, volcanic ash not observed. It might be erupting. We just don't know. Sangay in Ecuador exploding. Flight level 230. Revenador in Ecuador exploding. Flight level 160. Sabancaya in Peru exploding. Flight level 220. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Heading to earthquakes to see very low levels of seismic activity for the past 24 hours. We haven't even seen an earthquake above a 5 magnitude range. 4.9 there, one of the largest quakes of the entire past 24 hours. There was a 4.4 at Oregon. Let us know if you felt that quake in the comments. So very calm. Again, no quakes of a 5 magnitude range. 4.8s, 4.9s. Very small quakes here over the past 24. Quite a few around the Pacific Rim, but they are all small in magnitude. Let us know if we missed anything in the comments. Kermadec Islands there saw a 4.9. That was the largest quake of the past 24. And welcome back to space. So here's some composite imagery. There was an M1.1 class flare. It came out of Sunspot 3116 right there. We have seen a small increase here in the 10.7 centimeter radio flux. The radio flux now up to 160 solar flux units. If you're wondering what a solar flux unit is, it is 10,000 joules of radio flux density. There's the 1-year graph. The black line is the radio flux. The red line is the sunspot number. Now, NOAA not expecting any coronal mass ejections. We're going to have to amend this because, well, there is a CME headed our way. Expecting it to arrive late in the day on the 10th or early in the day on the 11th. So late day Monday or early day Tuesday, Universal Time, we are expecting a CME strike. There's one that has a great proportion of its ejecta directly toward Earth. We'll get to it later in the video. First, Earth's magnetic moment from space. That is the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. The Geospace Magnetosphere movie. And we do see an ongoing coronal hole high-speed stream here. It's been pretty steady over the past 24 hours. Here's the past 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. A little bit of auroral activity here, but fairly geomagnetically calm conditions. Those red spots are the most likely places to see aurorae. Also induction into electrical grids, pipelines, railways, etc. And the KP index here at 3.33. So again, geomagnetically calm conditions. Moving to the real-time solar wind, we've just seen the BZ go back into positive territory here. The field pretty weak there. Total field there measured at Lagrange 1 only 6 nanotesla with a BZ of positive 1. Current solar wind density around 7 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed just under 500 kilometers per second. We did see some minor CME strikes yesterday. Barely noticeable here, but we saw a little increase in the density and speed and plasma temperature there. That's a likely CME strike. And then another little CME strike right there. Again, barely noticeable within that high-speed coronal hole wind regime, but you can see them there showing up as a minor signal. Changes in the plasma temperature, the density, and the speed all at the same time. 2 little, barely noticeable CME strikes. Next, getting into magnetic data, here are the GOES magnetometers for the past 3 days. Nothing too exciting going on there. Earth is in a south pole current sheet, as you can see here in red from the top view ecliptic plane field plot, as we watch the solar cycle progression daily on the channel. It's only the most comprehensive space weather you'll find anywhere in the world, and the most detailed imagery of the sun you'll find anywhere. So here is the line of sight plot. You see the solar magnetogram there, the B field, the sun's B field shown in blue, solar polar fields in red and green. Next, moving to coronal holes. We've got some south pole oriented coronal holes rotating in here. They're looking pretty well defined there on the Gong 2 imagery. Let's take a look at those in the SDO imagery here. 211 angstroms. You can see those getting better defined as they rotate in. They are south pole oriented coronal holes. And let's move to sunspots. Sunspots mostly stable here over the past 24. We did see some growth in sunspot 3119 located up here. And that large flare, I believe, came out of sunspot 3116. Here is your SDO magnetogram. Here is SDO continuum. Lots of beta gamma class sunspots in the Earth-facing zone. And here we've added 94 angstroms to show you those flares as we move to solar flares. Did that M-class flare produce any relativistic protons detectable at Earth? Well, apparently not, because the GOES proton flux remains flatlined. Are you concerned about your health? Well, so is the American Better Health Organization. So why don't you join SureMed and improve your health? That is the focus of the American Better Health Organization, otherwise known as SureMed. A base membership gets you all kinds of features like doctors by phone, virtual veterinarians discounts from 15 to 50% on dental services. Yes, it includes implants. Discounts on vision services. Access to the retail and mail-order pharmacy, discounts on vitamins, labs, and more. With just a SureMed base membership, and that also gives you access to other types of insurance products like hospital indemnity insurance, even life insurance policies with no underwriting. Check it out, links below the video and on our homepage to SureMed. That homepage is smashobashcom. Yes, and welcome to the Neo Renaissance, folks. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. In 2019, a crack YouTube unit was sent to social media prison for a crime we didn't commit. We promptly escaped a maximum security social media stockade to the internet underground where we survive as producers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find the content due to big tech shadow bans, maybe you can hire the Smash Team. Support the channel via clicks. Visit our homepage, find our links, visit us on social media. Thanks to everybody who has. You want to support the channel via a subscription membership, become a member at the Smash Team. smashobashcom/Smash Team. That's the Twitch channel loading there on the homepage. There is a gold level, there is a silver level, there's a gold annual paid-up subscription level, and there's even a free bronze level. We send out email alerts for certain types of disasters like tsunamis and major solar events at smashobash.com/Smash Team. Also, all kinds of additional features there, additional content available for gold and silver level members. For example, we've already explained the mechanism underlying the solar cycles to our gold Smash Team members. If you want to support the channel via some merch, check out our sweet merch shop. Lots of perhaps considered controversial items there. And a lot of items are considered controversial even though there's nothing controversial at all about them. If you click the link, you'll find them in order of best selling, which is what we're showing you here. And don't forget to Mensa, which is to make America not suck again. Today's featured item is our second best seller, Mensa. And I'm wearing the hat, so there it is. Mensa, make Earth not suck again. Mensa, make America not suck again. Because, well, since, you know, what we're doing here is we're acting locally and thinking globally. Because it's in the planet's best interest for America to not suck again. So it's up to you, is the point. Whew. Make Earth not suck again. Make America not suck again. These are pragmatic mottos, pragmatic slogans. And they're not political in any way, just like I'm not political in any way. I'm interested in what works, not what letter is after somebody's name. So I've never been affiliated with a political party, and I probably never will be. Whatever political party you're affiliated with, I'm not a fan. In fact, I'm not a fan of anything except facts and the truth. So remember, folks, to be a fan is to be fanatical. And the only fanaticism I have is about facts and the truth. So make Earth not suck again. It's up to you, not giant bureaucracies that are unable to get out of their own way. Press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content on YouTube. Thanks to our YouTube viewers for putting up with the pathetic censorship on the platform. Thanks to our new viewers. Thanks to those who've been with us for nearly 6 years, putting up the most detailed space weather videos on the entire internet. Check our playlists for other types of content. Like, oh, I don't know, driving, riding, pro tips. How about do one thing? Because, hey, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Check out the Diamond Anvil, Too Hard to Smash. Smashobashcom presents The Sun and more. And once again, thanks to our YouTube viewers. If you're viewing on BitChute, you're missing a lot of content by not subscribing on YouTube. So the largest flare of the past 24 was this M1.1. Peak flux of that was around 1440 Universal Time yesterday, and indeed it produced an Earth-directed coronal mass ejection. We'll get to it. First, here's the imagery in 171 angstroms SDO. 131 angstroms SDO. SDO 131. It's ionized iron. It is iron star. It's a very specific portion of the ultraviolet spectrum. Where you see bright spots, that's a lot of that species of ionized iron. Where you see dark spots, that is a relative lack of that species of ionized iron. And we'll get to those CMEs here in a moment. First, a star chart. This is what's going on over our heads at Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. And we've got now Venus still rising just ahead of the sun. But not for long. I've clicked it 97 times, and there we go. Yes, Venus still rising ahead of the sun. If you've got a low horizon, you may be able to see that before the sky lights up. Also Mercury there, rising ahead of the sun. Jupiter has just set. So here is our 7-day forecast for the solar system. We've got a full moon coming up in a day or two. At the moment, we've got a gibbous waxing. And there's where things will be in a week. Keep in mind that diagram is not to scale. So let's take a look at CMEs. Since, again, we've got an earthly directed one, we can expect it to arrive late in the day Universal Time on Monday or early in the day Universal Time on Tuesday. It was associated with that M-class flare that happened at about 1440 yesterday. So that's yesterday's imagery from GMU. Here's today's imagery, and there is some additional coronal mass ejection activity happening, and we can expect to see more at nearly 100% likelihood because, well, there's a lot of filaments on the earthly-facing portion of the solar disk. Next, let's look at stereo A. That's what's making me entirely sure that part of that CME is directed toward Earth. And you can see right here. So anyway, for you new viewers, once again, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Let me get out Epic Pen here. Earth would be off in this direction from the perspective of stereo A. It would be behind you from this Lagrange Point 1 spacecraft, the Soho-Lasco C3. And you can see right here this ejecta. It's pretty small, but it is headed directly toward Earth. So how do we know? Well, because we can't even barely see any of it here on this Soho-Lasco C3, indicating that it is headed directly toward Earth. Again, we can expect to see that arrive late in the day on Monday or early in the day on Tuesday. I'll say right around midnight, Monday Universal Time is when we can expect to see the arrival of that rather minor CME. It might cause like a KP5 minor geomagnetic storm condition. That's my guess. At least geomagnetic unrest, possibly up to a KP6. So a minor CME headed this way. Let that play through one more time. There it goes. And then, whoops, some missing data from stereo A. Anyway, here's some more imagery of it. This is the composite imagery, the Soho-Lasco C2 and C3, as well as the 304 angstroms SDO. And right there, the CME was on its way. And again, you could barely see it because it is so earthly directed that it's behind the coronagraph obscurement disk as it propagates. So that's that. And you know what? I've actually got some other imagery here. I'm going to bring it up. Just give me one moment. We've got a close-up of that, actually. I don't want to move on until we show it because it's totally sweet. So here's that close-up. So quite a few CMEs there. I don't try to count them. You can visit our Twitter page and go follow Dr. Keith Strong if you want to count CMEs. And check out all the filaments here. So here's our NSO, National Sunspot Observatory, hydrogen alpha imagery from El Teide, Spain, and still a lot of filaments here on the earthly portion of the solar disk. Some huge filaments up here in the north. Lots of filaments in the south. Likelihood of coronal mass ejections remains at nearly 100%. Here's SDO 304 angstroms for the past 24 hours. Likelihood of significant solar flares still kind of high with all of those complex, magnetically complex sunspot groups. It's exciting stuff. And next, our bonus feature segment. So here is our bonus features segment. Here is the satellite charging hazard scenario. Some surface charging hazards here just moving into the central Pacific Ocean, caused by low energy electrons on the surfaces of satellites. Here is our GOES electron flux here, reaching into warning levels once again yesterday and just moving toward warning levels today. The GOES 16 back into warning levels there at 10 to the third. And there is the forecast model from NOAA. We may see a little higher levels than that. The green boxes are the forecast, the yellow diamonds are the observation. There's the one-year chart to put it in context from Solon.info. Let's take a look at the ionosphere next. We are seeing some anomalies over the central Atlantic Ocean of the low-frequency variety. We'll get to it. First, the raw data. This is the vibrational frequency of the F layer of the ionosphere, located at about 300 kilometers of altitude. It's in megahertz, millions of vibrations per second. So we are seeing high and low frequency anomalies all over the planet at the moment. We'll show you the anomalygram to clarify that for you, as you may not be used to looking at that. So here is the anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median, and you can see those low frequency anomalies just north of the equator in the Atlantic Ocean especially. Some rapid swings there from high to low frequency anomaly. And are we waiting to see a large earthquake in the Western Caribbean? I wonder. But that is what's going on in the ionosphere. So there's the F layer, the latest image, 11:15 universal time ionogram, 11:15 universal time anomalygram. Next, we're going to show the total electron content. It's the electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset from about 12,500 miles of altitude down to ground level. The coupled thermosphere, ionosphere, plasmasphere electrodynamics model. We do see some anomalies there over the Antarctican region. Some high electron contents there, a little out of place. And those are more common during coronal hole high-speed streams as this coronal hole high-speed stream continues. Anyway, that's literally the count of electrons from your GPS satellite to your handset. And as always, the latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. Since this sunspot has grown significantly, let's cover that. There you go, there's the latest on that. It's just beta gamma class, maybe beta gamma delta class. Certainly beta gamma class though. And here's sunspot 3112 and 3116. Great imagery there from SDO. And there's the full disk. And let's show some more images here. Here's the 171 angstroms plus SDO colorized magnetogram for yesterday plus today. As we move from space weather into the realm of Earth weather, large portions of the U.S. about to freeze solid. And lots of frost advisories. Before we get to the Earth weather, let's pause for station identification. Thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network. Congratulations on realizing it exists. The Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So what we're looking at here is the ultraviolet index. And check it out, what's going on down here by the South Pole? Looks like an ozone hole, as there are very high levels of UV down there. Most likely explanation, a hole in the ozone layer in that area, as ozone holes are associated with high levels of ultraviolet radiation. Anyway, that gives you some insight into where it's noontime on the planet. And on this side of the planet, it's a little bit dark. So let's take a look at the surface winds here. switching to air and wind. There are the surface winds of the eastern world. Large low pressure system here to the southeast of New Zealand. You can see that. I'm sorry, that's a high pressure system. Counterclockwise rotation in the southern hemisphere. Anticyclone, likely clear skies over that area. Here are the jet streams of the eastern world. Shout out to our viewers from all around the planet. There are the jet streams here, the jet streams of the Americas, the western world. Jet stream from Canada blasting some cold air down into the central U.S. Here are the surface winds of this side of the planet. Surface winds of the central world. Jet streams of the central world. And let's move on. We don't want the video to be too lengthy. So here is clouds and fog from the 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation satellite. Part of the NASA GOES Interactive Weather Satellite Suite. And a tropical system there developing off the coast of Central America. It's going to crash into land and sort of roll up the Mexican coast. And here's your weather.gov map. And look at all the hard freeze warnings there. Hard freeze warnings in portions of Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, all of Iowa, northern Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Minnesota, and South Dakota. Also frost advisories there. That's the blue part. The purple part is freeze warnings. If your county's lit, click your county to get your weather alerts. Frost advisories in Scranton, Pennsylvania as well. So here's your GFS temperature anomaly forecast for the next 72 hours. That's anomaly in degrees Celsius. So tomorrow morning, Saturday night into Sunday morning, expecting very, very cold temperatures in the east central portion of the U.S. Here is the temperature forecast, the raw temperatures. That is in degrees Celsius. It is based on the same model and for the same time frame. It's a GFS 72-hour temperature forecast. Some very cold temperatures there in the Coloradan Rockies as well, making it into the 30s there. Approaching freezing temperatures for sure in the Coloradan Rockies. Next, your GFS pressure and precipitation forecast as we see some snow falling in eastern Canada. And you can see the end of that tropical system here kind of rolling up the Mexican coast. Doesn't look like it's going to gain very much strength there as it's going to contact a lot of land and have its convection reduced by having its water supply cut off. So we're going to show you a forecast of that here. Let's zoom in just a little bit here. This is the European forecast. And it certainly looks like it's going to crash into Nicaragua there. It's going to make landfall there on Nicaragua. And it's going to lose coherence according to the European forecast. That's the European forecast for pressure from windy.com. And let's move on to our lightning mapper. Do we see any significant lightning in the U.S.? A little bit in Mexico and Arizona. I don't know. It was breaking down. Let's continue on to a real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org, powered by blitzortung.org. German, the best language to utter curse words. Du bist ein Bleistiftspitzer. That means you're a pencil sharpener. I know it sounds great, right? Anyway, that's a real-time lightning map. We have some Mediterranean lightning happening. Also some lightning happening there in southeastern Europe. Pretty calm as far as lightning goes at the moment. Let's briefly zoom out here to view all 50 states. As some snow falls there on the Alaskan Peninsula. We'll focus on the lower 48. There is the U.S. Doppler radar map. Some showers brushing south of Oklahoma City. There is the shortwave radiation map showing clouds and fog. It's a 3.9 nanometer radiation satellite, and there is water vapor. We've got crystal clear skies over, looks like all of Pennsylvania. Maybe some fog. In any case, here's your recap. U.S. Doppler radar. Clouds and fog. And there is water vapor. You can see that cold air from Canada pushing its way down here through Wisconsin, across Lake Michigan, and so on. Thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, Least Busted Name in News. We're delighted to have you, and may that solar wind be at your back.